So, welcome back, boys and girls, and our story of the week is this. Norwich City Council are to spend £74,000 on new rubbish bins for the centre near the market. Now that's very reasonable, I thought. £1,000 for each bin, 74 new bins, yeah, all makes sense. No, it was what came next that made me laugh. It wasn't the fact that they were going to replace the bins, it was the fact that they were going to replace the bins with a whole new design. What a joke. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love Norfolk so. So, it's February the 2nd, that's a Sunday, and we're going to have a brief look at least at Bure Stage, and I'll spell that for you. And then we're going on to Coltishall Common, and then up to have a brief look at the land surrounding what used to be called Coltishall Air Base. So, back to these bins then. A laudable idea, except for one thing, the redesign. You won't believe it. These new bins will not accept pizza boxes. I mean, is it me? Really? Is it me? When I told my neighbour about this, he said he'll be surprised if the Italians don't shout out about discrimination. What's wrong with pizza boxes? Fish and chip boxes are okay, of course, but not pizza boxes. These pizza box-proof dustbins are probably designed by some overeducated academic in a university somewhere who's got absolutely zero common sense. So there you are. You've had a very pleasant summer's evening in Norwich with your latest squeeze or seat cover, and then you fancy a pizza, you sit on one of the lovely benches and you have your pizza. But what do you do with the empty box? So I would ask this bloody stupid academic, wherever you are, mate, ask yourself this. If they can't put the box in the bin, what do you honestly think they're going to do with it? Take it home? I don't fucking think so. At the very least, they're going to put it on top of the bin, not unless you've designed it so that they can't put it on the top of the bin. No, I'll tell you what they're going to do, you bloody moron. They're going to stick it to the side of the bin, where all the rats and the seagulls can get at it. And let me tell you something else about rats and seagulls. They're not very polite animals, you know. They don't tiptoe up, undo the box, have a little nibble of what's inside, close the box and fly or run away. No, they tear the box to shreds. Tiny little bits of cardboard and paper all blowing in the wind. Honestly, is it me? Here in Wroxham, I've actually seen rats and seagulls working as a team. The seagull flies into the aperture, drags out the box and drops it onto the floor for the bloody rats. Honestly. Later on in the season, when the sun is up, I'll see if I can get some video footage of this actually going on for you. Guy goes to the doctor's, and the doctor says to him, I need to do a sperm count on you. So if you take this little jar and do the honours into the jar, and then bring it back to me, I can do the sperm count. Well, 3 days later, the guy's back, and he hands the doctor with a jar. And the doctor says, but this jar's empty. And the bloke says, yeah, I know. First I tried with my right hand, then I tried with my left hand, then I tried both hands, nothing. Then the wife had a go. She tried with her right hand, then her left hand, then both hands, no good at all. So we actually called in a next door neighbour to give hands. She's a young woman in her 20s. She tried with her right hand, she tried with her left hand, then she tried both hands, and none of us could get the bloody jar open. This then is Coltishall Common, a very popular spot in the spring and summer and autumn, not only for boaters of course, but for van lifers and caravanners and all this sort of thing, because of the really lovely views. Now here, the River Bure has only got about another quarter to a half a mile of navigable waters left. You come up abruptly against the big lock gates that the Broads Authority used to control the water system from the upper stretches of the Bure Valley. You can go up there by canoe, I believe, or you used to be able to, but no more bigger boats. Now in this village, just up the road there's a fish and chip shop. and it really is one of the best fish and chip shops in the country. You should try it. But under the previous owners, I was in there one day, and the bloke in front of me ordered haddock and chips, and he opened it up to put the vinegar and salt on. He said, "Hello, mate." He said, "Just a word." He said, "Was this fish hungry?" And the fish guy said, "Why, what do you mean?" He said, "It seems to have eaten all my bloody chips." And one day I went there to get some chips, and standing outside there's a woman standing there eating a big plate of chips, but her knickers around her ankles. And I waited a couple of seconds and I walked up to her and said, "Excuse me, love, do you know your knickers around your ankles?" And she looked down and went, "Oh, has he gone?" Now, I've walked away from Coltishall Common, and I've walked a couple of miles up the road to the next village, which is said locally as Hobbis. Okay? And I'm on my way to the airfield at Coltishall. Big World War II airfield. Now been renamed in places as Badersfield or Bardersfield, after Douglas Bader. Now, as I stand here on this spot, I'm going to be quiet. You tell me what you can hear. But on this spot, 80 years ago, the soundtrack was completely different. Well, boys and girls, do you think that young people will ever realise just how lucky they are? Well, there you are, boys and girls. We're coming to the end of another episode. In the next episode, I'm going to link with HMP Bure by talking about crime in the 50s and 60s in East London. Finally then, a little bit on this sport of angling. These two you see here are magnet fishermen. I'm sure you've heard of it. But all they ever seem to do is collect a bucket full of nails. But at least they take their nails home with them. In Wroxham, you'll find heaps of rusty nails on the boardwalks and anywhere else they can get there. Just right for kids to fall into. Now, I haven't been fishing for 65 years. The last time I went was over Victoria Park in East London, known as Vicky Park, with a small rod, a bag of bits and a box of bait. Nowadays, look what you need. So, I get an awful lot of things just walking up and down. See ya.